Hello, happy Friday. It is blog 25, I believe. It's been a short week because we had family day and feeling really fortunate to have had reading week to play a little bit of catch up as personal life has certainly been on the busier side. But as of this week, it's been kind of getting deeper into the class. I started my first project with my students. I did choose to run a lesson plan that I had built initially for one of Bob's classes, and it was intended to be more of a literacy connection. And my original intention when I built it was to be delivered later on in the semester when there were more practical skills already acquired. However, needing to kind of fill the first few weeks with a little bit of fluff because there are so many kids transferring in and out, uh, kind of decided to make some modifications. So it is a history of hair project, and specifically having students choose an icon of a certain era or decade and having them dive right into the hair trends and techniques for their specific icon, but also speaking to the general population of both women and men. And I really wanted them to kind of dig into not just what were the trends, but what were the products that were used, what were the techniques to achieve the looks, and um, just what kind of methods, techniques, tools, products, all that good stuff. So um, we had a really great first day in introducing the project. And I chose to run it with all three classes to see if there was the same level of connection. You know how we've been informed many times you can do something with one group and it goes completely different than another group. So made the decision to kind of run it with all three. Again, we're kind of in the tail end of our fluff period, and as soon as we wrap this up, we're gonna get right into the hands-on skills. However, chose to run my lesson plan. So day one was, introducing the history of hair and running kind of through the decades and briefly describing some of the looks that were signature of the decade, and did an interactive lesson plan where I had a visual on the projector and the students, I had them use their cell phones and, search icons of the 1920s. And we did a mind map collectively on the board together so that we got our kind of our inspiration and had a number of icons kind of littered the entire whiteboard. It was great. For each decade we carried on. And so that was kind of our intro. And I said, I want you tonight now to consider, we're going to get into a project, and I want you to just think and consider what icon you would like to select. Give yourself at least one or two, because I will not have any duplicates. And we're going to max out each decade, so I'm not, the whole class isn't watching 15 to 20 presentations of the 90s, because I'm sure that's what's most familiar to them. So capped out the number, and I did put together like a full write-up of the objective and the things that I need them to cover, so not just the hair but also any makeup and fashion trends that were relevant and what made their icon iconic and famous, and built a rubric and broke down what kind of marks they were receiving for the content, what kind of marks they're receiving for the presentation itself. Gave them a choice board, so their visual to support the presentation could either be a Bristol board, it could be like a slideshow of some sort, some kind of digital content, or I gave them the option of if they wanted to dress up like said icon and style their hair and do their makeup like said icon, that would absolutely be an option for anyone that was feeling extra creative. And then in terms of presentation, you can either present classic style in front of the classroom, you can do a recording so that it's a little less scary than presenting in front of your peers. Or I gave them the option of, if you would like to put together a song or do a dance, you are free to express and do your presentation through that. So I gave them three, I just said, as long as your visuals support the content that's required for you to deliver, then you are free to express and present in your own fashion. We do have an individual that is she has quite the IEP. She really should probably be in the life skills classroom, but her parents insist on keeping her well integrated in regular classrooms, which is quite all right. But her competence level is not quite as high, but she is an avid dancer, so I know that really meant something to her, that was an option in terms of her presentation, and she's actually really looking forward to it. So I do look forward to her presentation next week, absolutely. And so what I did is I gave them the freedom to think about it, gave them the overall assignment and the rubrics and whatnot, and had them think about things. The next day, on Wednesday, I had randomly drawn names and allowed them in that order to select their icon. Again, maxing out each decade at about 4 presentations per decade. Excuse me. And so it was great. We have some great versatility, and the rest of the period I said, okay, we have the Chromebooks. I would like you to come up with at least 3 facts and 3 resources, because we're getting shyer. Like, we'd used up easily half the period just deciding on our icons. So, okay, I would like a minimum of 3 facts about your icon and 3 resources, and really explain to them, you should probably open up a bookmark folder for this project specifically to start funneling your resources. And we went over that. And so I created an assignment update for day 1. And when I went in to check those updates, I was really disappointed that there were not many turned in. In one class, I had 3 out of 19 students, a couple were absent, but 3 out of, let's say, 17 students that actually submitted their update for the day. So I went in a little bit frustrated yesterday, and I let them know my number 1 rule is respect, and I feel a little bit disrespected that you cannot provide a tiny bit of information that you were actually working on our assignment yesterday. I thought it was being more than fair and really generous in only requiring 3 facts and 3 websites, and that was more than feasible in the time that was allocated. So I told them, you clearly aren't using class time appropriately. So I had everybody check in their cell phones. Ms. Bolton has a shoe holder that she puts cell phones in that's on the wall. So everybody checked in their cell phones. And I put a timer on the projector for 20 minutes. And I said, 20 minutes of absolute silence. If you have any questions, you do not ask your neighbor. You will ask myself or Ms. Bolton. I need us to focus. I need those submissions. If you did not submit what you did yesterday, you're going to submit that in no later than the 20-minute timer, because then submissions at that point are closed. And I need you to continue working on this, because I'm going to require you to update me with what you've done now for day 2. And they knew I meant business, and they were very quiet and worked very productively. Once the timer went off, I did circle around the room to see where everyone was at and check in to see if there were any questions or concerns. And today, I told them it's a continuation of yesterday. I said, at the end of the day, everybody pretty well turned in their assignments, so I will not take away your phones today. However, if there's temptation, feel free to check it in. And what I did also too is I broke down on the whiteboard. I had written down an agenda, a day by day, of what our week kind of looked like leading up to our presentations next week. However, I created more of like a visual, and I actually made a calendar for the next couple weeks and really blocked out per day. Day one, focus on your icon and your facts and why they're famous. On day two, I want you to focus on the hair, the techniques, the tools for your icon, and the general population. On Friday, I would like you to focus on the hair and the makeup. Over the weekend, if you feel like there is something that you have not fulfilled, please do get yourself caught up so that you're not trying to race through this the night before. On Monday and Tuesday, as this project is due Wednesday, on Monday and Tuesday, those are allocated for putting your visuals together and rehearsing your presentation, and kind of just going over things with a fine-tooth comb. I did tell students that if they complete early, that I will take anyone that's 100% finished and work with them with some really soft skills, probably just roller sets kind of in the back corner without disrupting anyone that still has work to do, and get them kind of their hands into the mannequins, because I know these kids are so eager to get going on the hands-on skills. So, and I keep assuring them that it is coming right after this project. So Monday, Tuesday is carved out for kind of tightening things up and possibly rehearsing, going over with a fine-tooth comb. Our projects will be due on Wednesday, and presentations then are Thursday and Friday. So really, really looking forward. There are some phenomenal jobs that I've seen so far, and it's really cool to see the creativity come out of these kids in the way that they piece things together, and some of their selected icons are something that I would not have anticipated, but very much looking forward to some of these. So on that note, happy Friday, happy reading week. We are almost through our online courses, and I couldn't be more thrilled.